Hey guys, welcome back to One Stop Biology. So guys, in today's video, we are going to discuss about what are the deficiency symptoms which are caused if the essential elements are limited, right? So we'll study about that, and then we'll also study about toxicity of some micronutrients. So guys, here you'll have to understand that till now we actually saw what kind of nutrients are necessary for the plants, in what proportion it is required, and depending upon the amount, we basically classified it into macronutrients and micronutrients. And then in last two videos we studied some of the macronutrients, and we also studied some of the micronutrients, and we saw what are their functioning and how essential they are. So basically, guys, if now say these elements are not present in the environment, in the soil, if the plant is going to take it up from the soil itself. So basically, when the supply of these elements become limited, then what? So when the supply of these elements, when the supply is limited, this causes retarded growth in plants. Right? So basically, the concentration of essential element below which the plant growth is retarded is known as critical concentration. Now you'll have to remember this word. So critical concentration is the concentration of essential elements below which plant growth is retarded. Below which plant growth is retarded. Now, say the element is basically said to be deficient when present below this critical concentration, right? Now, guys, each element has one or more specific structural or functional role in plants that we studied in the last two videos. Now, in absence of any particular element, basically plants will start showing certain morphological changes, and these morphological changes are indicative of deficiencies, and basically these are known as deficiency symptoms, right? So basically, in absence of a particular element, plants, since these elements perform some or the other functions in the plant, so the plants start showing certain morphological changes, and by this seeing this morphological changes, we can say that there are certain element deficiencies, and basically these are known as deficiency symptoms. Now the deficiency symptoms again vary from element to element, and they disappear when the deficient mineral nutrient is provided to the plant, right? So basically, if the element is not there, you will find these symptoms, and these symptoms will vary from element to element. And once these elements are available to the plant, the deficiency symptoms goes off. Okay. Now, guys, what happens is that the deprivation, right? Say if the deprivation of this element continues, it might lead to death of the plant as well. So just compare it with humans. The same happens with humans as well, right? If our body requires something, requires an element, right? To the extent that it is going to die, and if the that particular substance or that particular element is not available, the ultimate result is death of the human as well, right? So basically what is happening is that the part of the plants that shows deficiency symptoms also depend on the mobility of element in the plant, right? So basically for there are elements which are actively mobilized, actively moved within the plants, and they are exported to the young developing tissues as well, right? So basically, the deficiency symptoms tend to appear first in the older tissues because these elements are being mobilized. Say, once say the elements is in less quantity which is required. So what will happen is the elements which are already present in the older tissues will start moving to the tissues which are young, which are the young developing tissues, to first to protect them. And that is why the symptom, deficiency symptom, will first appear in the older tissues. Right? Now, there's an example as well which is given in NCERT, that deficiency symptoms of nitrogen, potassium, and magnesium. These are first visible in the dying leaves, in the senescent leaves, right? In the same way, in older leaves, biomolecules which contain these elements are broken down, and these elements basically are moved towards younger leaves to protect them first. Right? Now, there are certain deficiency symptoms which tend to appear first in the young leaves as well. This happens where? This happens where the elements are relatively immobile. You cannot move them. The plant cannot move them so easily. So now these elements are present in the older tissues. But since they cannot be moved to younger tissues, once the element is deficient, this deficiency symptom will appear first in the young tissues, right? So you'll have to remember that with elements who are easily movable, right, who are easily mobile, the deficiency symptoms first appears in older tissues, and the elements where they are immobile, the mobility is a problem, there the deficiency symptom first appear in the young tissue, right? Now basically what is happening is, example of it is sulfur or calcium. So these are part of structural component of the cell, and they are not easily released, right? And because of this, if there is a deficiency of sulfur or calcium, you will see it first in the young tissues, right? Now, guys, there are a lot of deficiency symptoms which can be seen in plants. So there are symptoms like chlorosis, necrosis, stunted plant growth, premature fall of leaves and buds, inhibition of cell division, right? So these are all deficiency symptoms that occurs in plant, and these are very common, very common. If you will notice the plants around you, you'll find one or the other symptoms in a plant. So basically, what is chlorosis? Chlorosis is loss of chlorophyll, which leads to yellowing of leaves, and this symptom is caused by elements, say sodium, potassium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, manganese, zinc, molybdenum. So there are so many elements which cause chlorosis. In the same way, what is necrosis? Necrosis is death of tissue, and that too particularly leaf tissue. So necrosis happens when there is deficiency of structural elements, right? Like calcium, potassium, copper, magnesium, right? And again, inhibition of cell division. Cells are not able to divide. This happens when there is a lack of sodium, potassium, sulfur, molybdenum, right? Similar way, there is a delay in flowering, right? So there is a delay in flowering when some elements are present in low amount, in low quantity. Again, these elements can be nitrogen, sulfur, molybdenum. So all these examples are given in NCERT, and you'll have to remember these, right? So now we understand very well that deficiency of any element that can cause multiple symptoms, and the same symptoms may also be caused by one or more different elements. Now, isn't it very confusing? Because if, say, there is senescence, or say if there is chlorosis in a plant, it is difficult to identify the element which exactly is causing it, because multiple elements can cause it, right? So you'll have to study all the symptoms. You'll have to compare it with all the elements which are required for that plant, and then all the elements which are present in less quantity, which are deficient, and then compare all of it and then come to a conclusion. But it is very confusing and complex, right? Now, guys, since require see what is happening is that we said that the if the nutrients are deficient, if they are not present in the apt amount, if they are present in low amounts, they cause deficiency symptom. Now, what happens when these elements are present in the amount which is more than what is required? So if there is an increase in these elements, it also causes toxicity. So it doesn't mean, so basically, you cannot conclude that if the elements are required, what you can do is you can just pour in a lot of elements in huge quantity and the plants will survive. So basically, there is an essential requirement of maintenance of these elements in proper amount, not less, not more, right? So if these elements are in moderate increase, they cause toxicity. So basically, there is a narrow range of concentration for all the elements which are optimum. Now, any mineral ion concentration in tissues that reduces the dry weight of tissues by about 10% is considered as toxic. So you'll have to remember that. Any mineral ion concentration in tissues, if it reduces the dry weight of tissue by 10%, it means that the mineral ion concentration is increased by a lot and it is toxic for the plant, right? Now, again, there are toxicity symptoms as well, but the toxicity symptoms are very difficult to identify, and toxic levels of any element will vary for different plants, right? So, basically, what happens is sometimes excess of one element may do what? It may inhibit uptake of another element as well. So basically, there is a very famous toxicity which is manganese toxicity, right? So in manganese toxicity, what happens? There is an appearance of brown spots which is surrounded by chlorotic vein, right? So basically, you will have to now know that manganese competes with iron and magnesium, and it inhibits calcium translocation as well. So if excess of manganese happens, it induces deficiency of iron, magnesium, and calcium, right? So basically, the symptom of manganese toxicity can also be symptom of deficiency of iron, magnesium, and calcium. So now, guys, do you understand how complex even the mineral nutrition of plant is? It is not that easy to, maintain a plant species, right? So basically, it it is a very complex process of, you know, maintaining the element to an extent, to an optimum range that it is not deficient and it is not toxic as well. So, guys, with this, we have covered the topic of deficiency symptoms and toxicity of nutrients, and I hope you would have understood it. I hope you'll remember the different type of deficiency symptoms like chlorosis, necrosis, stunted plant growth, which is given in NCERT, and you'll also remember the examples given in NCERT. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Yes, please do like it and share it with all your friends. And if you have any doubt, please do mention in the comment of the video, or you can also message me on WhatsApp. WhatsApp number is given in the description of the video. And guys, if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe to it and press the bell icon to get all the updates that I'll be posting to my channel. Thanks, guys. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.